Welcome back to the Graviton YouTuberverse. Loved you all, miss you all. Bertrand Russell's barber is what we're going to cover first off. So, Bertrand Russell had a paradox called the barber who never shaves himself, or the barber who shaves everyone who doesn't shave themselves can't shave himself, because if he shaves himself, then he doesn't, and if he does, then he does. So let's think about the Bertrand Russell's barber for 1 second. He's, in a sense, he doesn't really exist, but at the same time, he does. So he takes on both parts of the spectrum. And with that in mind, I'll move over to a little fact of immunology and homeostasis within the body. So your body has mechanisms that activate when you're under stress or when you wake up in the morning. There are 1,281 mechanisms that activate when you wake up. So there's no coincidence that you got out of bed. And phagocytosis is the process by which white blood cells will consume any viral pathogens. So if you have a pathogen that comes near, something like that, then your white blood cells will sense it and then engulf it, and then catalytic enzymes will break it down and pretty much destroy it, and then your white blood cells will be normal again, or for the better chance, stronger afterwards, because they've consumed something that they had not encountered before, and they know how to deal with it in the future. And that moves me on to, so I woke up this morning and I listened to some motivational speeches, and I think it's really great to listen to something motivational, get you, raring throughout the day. And one quote that came across me was very, very inspirational to me. So, and it was by Lisa Nichols on an episode of Impact Theory. So who you were, the reason people are preventing themselves from who they want to be is because they're too attached to who they were. And that's, what we really want to do is we want to let go of who we were before, and we want to evolve into this person that we want to be in the future, and that person is going to be so much stronger than who we were. So with that in mind, I'll move over to PCR chain reaction, and this is a little factoid of genetics, where the DNA replicates by, so say you have a strand of DNA. The polymerase chain reaction, the PCR machine, will separate the DNA and then add these primers into it. And then the primers will replicate from the original coding strand of DNA. And then you have stacks upon stacks of DNA in a sequence. And it takes a little bit of time for it to happen, but the DNA, essentially, you need large quantities of DNA to sequence DNA. And over time, from just two single strands, you'll have a compilation of like 2 to the 25 strands in it, and it'll be incredible. And what geneticists use is a plasmid of DNA, where this DNA plasmid, like a section of a bacterial plasmid, is taken out of it, and then a segment of DNA coding is like inserted into it, and from there you have a replicating DNA fashion. So DNA will replicate over time in sequential fashion from just 2 strands to 2 to the 25 million strands. And that's one of the things the white blood cells, well, every cell in your body does, because every cell that has a nucleus has a DNA component to it within the chromatin. Within each, it's like each little like brain of the cell, there's a large mass of DNA in it. And then, so with that in mind, I want to talk about the effect of gravity from an accelerated observer standpoint. So gravity, from the observer's point of view, will have a 4 velocity motion, where as you're moving through your world line, you have a 4 tetrad. A tetrad is a point in time that expands into each cardinal coordinate direction. And so as you're going through your world line, from the starting point, you'll move in a geodesic, and the tetrad will always move out in the 3 cardinal directions. So really, if you reference yourself to your own observance, then you are moving in a 4 velocity motion and a 4 accelerated motion. So yeah, essentially, there's an image here from Graviton where, let's see, you're starting at this point. As you move forward in time, you'll essentially go in this wave-like motion, and that'll be a geodesic, and these points here are going to be those tetrads. So, pretty simple point of view. That's essentially how you look at it when you're moving at 4 velocity and you're observing like all your surroundings at once. So with that in mind, well, shorter video than I expected, but this is a first try run. I want to be able to explain this stuff off the cuff. So just to recap, we went through Bertrand Russell's barber paradox. Barber who shaves everybody, who doesn't shave can't shave himself. Barber who shaves himself doesn't shave everybody who doesn't shave. Phagocytosis, white blood cells consume pathogens and break them down from the inside using catalytic enzymes. Who you want to be is a derivative of letting go of the attachment from who you were before. DNA from a PCR chain reaction starts off with 2 strands and uses DNA primers to replicate itself to 2 to the 25 or to the 34 millionth degree. And your reference frame of acceleration of you as an observer. The observer's acceleration is a tangent of the world line motion in 4 velocity from points along the world line in 4 velocity motion. So that's the video. That is today's episode of the Graviton. I hope this video brought you well, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Keep killing it out there.